if this stack falls on me, I'll be very upset. But it'll be my own fault, so. Look, I know I overdid it. I know I have blasted through the budget that I set myself for book shopping for the year in 3 months. Not super proud of it, but I have loads of books now, so I'm going to tell you about those books because there are multiple reasons why I bought them. I went out with the goal of buying more Terry Pratchett books with the traditional like vintage covers because I love them, but also expanding my Edge Chronicles collection because I loved that series when I was young and you can get the hardbacks for really cheap these days. So let's talk about what I got. First on my list is Overture to Death by Ngaio Marsh. This is for a video I'm doing next month where I raid my parents' library, pick some titles that I grew up seeing on the shelves and I've never read, and there was a lot of Ngaio Marsh on my parents' shelves. So I found this one in a charity shop for £2.49 and I'm going to give it a go because it sounds like it's a murder mystery and I love a murder mystery and she seems to be quite popular and hopefully that's for a reason. So hoping to enjoy this. I like me a mystery. I really hope my downstairs neighbour's not home because there's going to be a lot of books thumping on the floor. Next I have Neil Gaiman, The Ocean at the End of the Lane. I picked up a couple of Neil Gaiman books and then put them back. I think I picked up Neverwhere because I have tried that and didn't love it. But I know I like Neil Gaiman, or Gaiman, I'm never entirely sure how you're supposed to pronounce it. But I've heard not a lot about this. It sounds like one of his more thoughtful books. It's got a very pretty cover and it wasn't very much money. It was £1, so there wasn't a lot stopping me from buying this book. I don't know if I'll like it, but I'll give it a go. Then I have The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels by Janice Hallett. I have heard Lianne from Literary Diversions say a lot of things about Janice Hallett, and I'm pretty sure this is one of the books that she said lots of good things about, so I want to give it a go. This is one that's been at my library for a while, but I haven't had the time to pick it up as a library book because I have lots of other things I've put holds on at the library, and then I saw this and it was £1.50. So I got it, hopefully I'll like it. It's another mystery. I'm kind of on a mystery kick, so I'm optimistic. Then I have the one Terry Pratchett that I found. It's The Colour of Magic, which is the first one and possibly the shittest one because it was his first work, but it's in the cover that I wanted. So that's another added to my collection and it wasn't very much money, which is what I was after because I found loads of them on Vinted for like £1, which is great, but because you're buying from lots of different sellers and then the shipping is like £3.50 each, it's just much easier to go to charity shops and try and find them. So that's another one. Did you know that the author of Winnie the Pooh had written a murder mystery? Like a locked door, because I didn't until I found it in an Oxfam bookshop. So I'm really intrigued because Winnie the Pooh is awesome and this is nothing like Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, it's also quite a pretty cover. Then I picked up Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. I've heard lots of people say lots of good things about this book. I think it's about the victims of a serial killer, I think Dharma, but they make a point of never mentioning his name throughout the book so that it's solely focused on the victims. Yes, I'm pretty sure. I've heard lots of good things. I think Sid from Bookworm, is that her name, has said lots of good things about it, so I will give it a go. Then I have Twin Crowns by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Webber. This is from my extended digital TBR from the end of last year, so it's one of the books that I need to either read or knock off my list. It was £4 in the works for quite a nice copy, so if I do like it, it's a nice copy. If I don't like it, that's not a huge amount of money that I could probably get back if I sell it on Vinted. So I'm giving it a go. Then I have The 39 Steps by John Buchan. This is another one for my parents' reading vlog. My mum is a Buchan scholar, so it's silly for me to not read Buchan really for that vlog. And I've never read any Buchan. I'm not optimistic I'll like it, but The 39 Steps is the most famous one, so I'll give it a go. Oh, then I have The Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons. This is actually an ARC. I did not pick this up in a charity shop. I was sent this by the publisher and I will be reviewing it before its release date on the 9th of July 2024. I'm really excited to get to this. I haven't read her other series, but it's all about dragons and I've heard lots of good things about her writing, so I can't see me not liking this book really. But that was part of the books. Part of the haul from the last 2 days. It arrived in the post. So I'm excited, despite the text being absolutely tiny. I might need a magnifying glass. Oh, then I have one that my mum passed down to me. So this is one that she tried and didn't like. This is about Marie de France, It's born from a long line of female warriors and crusaders, and cast out from the royal court. She's sent to Angleterre, which is England, to become the prioress of an abbey. Marie wields her strength, teaching sword fighting and dagger work. She sets a bold new course for the nuns she leads, bringing herself and her sisters into richness and power. So this sounds like a bunch of warrior nuns in England, which I'm down for. It's not too long. Sounds interesting. I've never heard of it. So I'm going to give it a go. Then I got The Skeleton Key by Erin Kelly. I think I've had this on a TBR at some point, but it was really very cheap, and it sounds like a sort of family mystery about secrets that some people are trying to keep buried and some people are trying to dig up. And I feel like this is going to be hit or miss, but I'm going to give it a go because there is a good chance that I'm going to love it. Then I have The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. This is first of a trilogy set in Pompeii, I believe. The sticker is covering a chunk of the blurb, but I believe it's about a girl who starts working in Pompeii's infamous brothel. She's sharp and resourceful, surrounded by women whose humour and dreams she shares. Amara comes to realise that everything in the city has its price, and how much will her freedom cost? I used to love reading about the Roman Empire and stuff written in that period. I haven't read any for ages. I used to love that middle grade series about those 4 kids. One of them was mute. I think the main one was called Flavia, and they used to have loads of adventures in ancient Rome and things like that, and I used to love them. And I haven't read anything set in the Roman Empire for a really long time. I just really like the sound of this book. I think it could be good. We're giving it a go. Then I picked up the complete Sherlock Holmes long stories. I was going to pick up just a copy of the Scarlet one, The Study in Scarlet, and then I realised they had this whole collection for the same price as the book on its own. So I've picked it up because it was £2. I've never actually read any Sherlock Holmes, and I really like watching adaptations. I like murder mysteries. I'm intrigued. I think I might have read Hound of the Baskervilles for school, but I can't remember, and I want to give this a go. And it's just something, it's like a staple for most bookshelves. So we'll give it a go. Then I picked up Dragon Slayer, The Story of Beowulf by Rosemary Sutcliffe. I have read The Eagle of the Ninth by Rosemary Sutcliffe, and I really enjoyed that. This is tiny. This is a teeny tiny book. I quite enjoy The Story of Beowulf. Oh, there's pictures. There's cool pictures in it. It's just, it won't take me long to read. She's a good author. It's a cool story. I'm here for it. And like, it's one of those like old style covers. So I'm here for it. Then I have Persepolis, The Story of a Childhood and the Story of a Return. So I believe this is all 3 volumes of this graphic memoir. I've heard a lot about this. I'm pretty sure I've had people tell me it's really good. I know it's been turned into a film, but it looks like a book. It's a graphic novel. Like, it's all a graphic novel about a woman growing up in Iran, and apparently it's full of tragedy and humour, and I'm expecting it to be sort of tugging on the heartstrings a little bit. Oh, that's cool. So it's someone's ticket to a museum, I want to say in the Czech Republic maybe? That looks like Czech on the back. From 1999. Oh, that's cool. I'll probably keep that. I love it when you find old stuff in books. Yeah, I want to give this a go. We'll see if I like it. Then I did find some Edge Chronicles books. This is Free Glader. I am going to need to dust it. It's got some foxing on the top. It's also quite dusty. If you haven't read the Edge Chronicles, even if you're an adult now, like, give them a go. Look at how cool these illustrations are. And there's illustrations on like every other page, and that was what made it for me. Prowlgrins, these little round lumpy things that people ride like horses. I just love them. I love the lore of this series. I love the world building. I love Chris Riddell's writing. I love the weird and wonderful creatures, because you know how much I like weird fantasy creatures. This series was a gold mine for that, and that's where my obsession started, really. That and Spiderwick Chronicles are completely responsible for my love of mythical fantasy creatures, particularly the weird ones. Then while I was in Oxfam, I picked up The Invisible Child and The Fir Tree, which are 2 Moomin stories by Tove Jansson. I love the Moomins. I also bought a secondhand Moomin puzzle while I was out and about, but I don't think I've ever actually read any. I think I've seen some of the TV shows that were produced, never actually read any of the books. So this is where I'm going to start, and I'll probably enjoy it. Then I have another Janice Hallett called The Appeal. This was only £1.50. And again, I've heard Lianne from Literary Diversion say lots of nice things about Janice Hallett, and I think this might have been it, but I can't remember. There's a chance that this might have been on her bottoms list, not her tops list, but I have it now and we'll give it a go. It is mixed media, which I don't read very often, so I'm intrigued. So it's all told in like texts and letters and emails, and I think there might be some like news articles and things in there. I'm excited. Then I picked up Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I read The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro, I want to say January or February, and while I didn't love the story, it was quite meandering. I know this one, I have seen the film. I hate that this is the film cover of the book, but it was 99p, and I know this is the famous story. It's also a setting that I really enjoy because it's kind of like a boarding school, and I love boarding schools in books, so I want to give this a go, see if I like it a bit better, particularly as it's set in the modern day and not in like Saxon times, which isn't super my bag, which might have been why I didn't enjoy The Buried Giant quite as much as I could have. Then I have Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro and Cornelia Funke. Obviously I loved Inkheart and the Inkheart series by Cornelia Funke. I didn't realise this was a book. I am unsure. Okay, it's a spellbinding new novel inspired by the film. So it's a book of the film, and I only have a vague memory of the film. I know I enjoyed it. I think I was a little bit young when I saw it, so it really creeped me out. But I do like Guillermo del Toro's writing and his mind and his world building and his sort of brand of fantasy. And I know I like Cornelia Funke's writing, so I'm excited. I've also forgotten enough of the film that I think this will still be exciting and twisty. Then I got The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. I'm pretty sure this is the third in the Bear and the Nightingale series. Oh, no, I think it's the second. That's exciting because I finished The Bear and the Nightingale in January and I really enjoyed it, and I do want to continue on with the series. So now I've got the second book in a nice hardcover, so excited about that. This is sort of Slavic folklore, fairy tale inspired, magical, mystical stories about Vasya and finding her way through life with her ability to speak to these spirits. And I've kind of forgotten the rest, but I know I liked it. I definitely liked the vibes. And then lastly, I have The Immortals. This is my last Edge Chronicles book. I haven't actually read this one all the way through because this came out after I stopped reading when I was a bit older. So I think I have tried to read it before. It's fucking huge. But these are some of the later stories where I'm not quite as invested as the characters. The world's changed a little bit. So there's like new locations, new concepts. But I think if I ever do go ahead and reread the series, because I think that would be a real comfort reread for me, I might then come back to this, and I would like to have my own copy. This is £3.50, but it is also like the size of my head, so reasonable. So that is it. That is all the books that I have purchased in the last 2 days. Not necessarily purchased, acquired in the last 2 days. And now I have to try and get them onto my shelves. I think now I'm going to stop buying books until my birthday at the end of July because I'm running out of room on my TBR shelf. My partner has now taken up half of the TBR shelf because he's actually getting into reading, which is great. We want to encourage that. So I'm starting to have to stack some of these on the floor. I just need to read them. I need to read them and I need to start working my way through them. So that's my job now, is to try and get them all on the shelf. Some of them can go straight on the shelf, like the Edge Chronicles. That might be the only one that can go straight on the shelf, but the Edge Chronicles can go straight on the shelf because I have read them. The rest of them gotta go in my TBR file. That was it. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Am I going to hate or love the Janice Halletts? Who knows? You will hear about some of these in future videos, I am sure. Let me know if you think there's any that I should start with, and I will see you next Sunday.